Story appears ordinary until you see the core side of it.
And what you're looking for is the story behind the news.
We bring it to you from Lagos, the commercial capital of Nigeria.
Giving you all sides and political stories round the clock.
Every detail from the start line to the final whistle.
CoreTV News, expanding your view.
Hello and welcome to CoreTV Primetime News. I am Nifemi Oguntoye. In our major story, former FCT minister and top shot of All Progressives Congress, Nasir El-Rufai, loses son in Abuja ghastly car crash. Also in this program, former Niger Delta militant Asari Kubo accuses opposition leader Muhammadu Buhari of being the mastermind of recent bomb and gun attack on himself in Kaduna. Adamawa state government concludes plan to probe impeached Governor Murtala Nyako over 82 billion naira debt profile. And outside Nigeria, European Union plans tough sanctions against Russia overall in Ukraine crisis.
Business news tonight. United States Agency for International Development moves to support Nigeria's cashew production.
On sports, Nigeria's Commonwealth gold medalist Chika Amalaha fails dub test at Glasgow 2014.
We'll begin on a sad note tonight as former Federal Capital Territory Minister Nasir El-Rufai on Tuesday morning lost a son, Hamza, in a car crash. The former minister broke the news on his Facebook page at about 8 a.m. on Tuesday. The accident happened at about 5:30 in the morning along the Kubwa Expressway. Assessors at the Federal Road Safety Commission said 23-year-old Hamza was driving a black Lexus car which ran into a broken-down vehicle. He had the two other persons were in the car, but only the younger El-Rufai died. Meanwhile, President Goodluck Jonathan has commiserated with the former minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nasir El-Rufai, on the death of his son, Hamza. In a statement by Special Advisor on Media and Publicity, Ruben Abati, the president says the outpouring of support at this moment by his friends and associates would comfort El-Rufai. He prayed for the repose of the deceased soul. While hundreds of sympathizers have been thronging the Abuja residence of Nasir El-Rufai to commiserate with the family over his son's death, friends and associates of the former FCT minister gather in a group inside and outside of his Aso Drive residence, discussing in low tones. Journalists were, however, barred from gaining access in the compound as Malam Rufai received sympathizers. One of the notable visitors cited at the place was Osita Chidoka, former FRSC commissioner, who is now aviation minister. El-Rufai's son died in a car crash on one of Abuja's main highway. He was said to have run into a stationary vehicle just before dawn and within a few minutes of the family residence. Away from that story, the acting governor of Adamawa, Amodo Fintiri, says the government has concluded plans to probe impeached Governor Murtala Nyako over 82 billion naira debt profile. Fintiri announced this in a broadcast to people of the state in Yola on Tuesday. He added that the government will cooperate with all anti-graft agencies to recover stolen state funds. The acting governor revealed that his interim administration inherited a debt profile of more than 12 billion naira in the statutory revenue account, alongside liabilities amounting to 70 billion naira. said to be diverted to non-viable projects. Fintiri, who maintains that he was committed to handing over a better Adamawa to the next administration, says local government will be treated properly as an effective tier of government through prompt release of funds. He urged traditional rulers, religious leaders, community leaders, security agencies and the people of the state to participate fully in bringing back the lost glory of Adamawa. Residents of Garkida in Gombe local council area of Adamawa State are fleeing their homes barely 48 hours after the town came under heavy attack by insurgents. This follows rumors from neighboring villages that the insurgents will attack again.
It was an exodus of people from Garkida town who feel the town is not safe. Tuesday morning saw residents with their luggage ready to vacate the town. Most of these people are the elderly, women and children who are vulnerable when attacks are carried out. They are living in panic and cannot spend another night in a town that was once very peaceful.
We have little children with us. We'll be sleeping in the mountain, crying. Children are crying. Bullets everywhere, shooting everywhere. We don't know where the shooting is coming from. And it's just that we just can't stand it. That's why we are trying to run away for our lives.
People are not yet settled down because we are expecting that the people may still come back for another revenge or for another this thing again. So that's why everywhere you can see people are very scared and we are about running out of the town now.
The insurgents who created this fear in the residents carried out their operations for about 6 hours, killing 5 soldiers in a gun battle and 4 civilians. The sole administrator of Garkida Development Area, who lost a son in the attack, appealed to government to fully equip the military to be able to contain the insurgents.
The only thing that will make them feel that they are safe at their home is the reinforcement of the Nigerian army, which they have already done. They have brought in more people, and the only self-protection that they will now get and the assurance that they will now get is only the coming in of this reinforcement, and it has taken place. So as far as I'm concerned, I have told them that unless something different takes place, these people have now been reinforced, and then our safety probably is not being guaranteed. But if somebody is terrified, before he cools off, it will be a bit difficult. Now, some of them are going as far down as to Yola. Some of them are in here in Gombe. So if by God's grace, after a day or two, nothing happens, definitely they will come back.
Property destroyed during the attack includes the police station, military base and the residence of a former member of the House of Representatives. The attack has left the people in panic as the Garkida General Hospital, which was also deserted. The district head of Garkida, who described the incident as unfortunate, appealed to residents to be calm and pray for an end to insecurity in the country.
Well, if such thing happens, you know, there will be some mixed thinking. People will think maybe they will come back again, but many of us many of them are still here in the town. Few of them, they are thinking maybe they will repeat the same thing again. That is why they are running away. On our own part, we are trying to calm them down now, because we are in the town. We try to calm them down, but we are calling the authority to police, because if they happen to see some soldiers or policemen around, they will put some confidence in their mind, and they will stop traveling. But with the absence of all these security people, they will be threatened.
Military personnel have been deployed to the area. It is hoped that normalies will soon return to the troubled town.
Former Niger Delta militant Asari Dokubo says that opposition leader Muhammadu Buhari masterminded the recent bomb and gun attack on himself to discredit the government. The leader of the Niger Delta People's Volunteer Force also denied an online report linking him to a bomb suspect arrested by troops at the bomb scene in Kaduna. Asari said this at a news conference in Abuja, where he also faulted President Goodluck Jonathan's comment on the Buhari attack.
If Goodluck Jonathan is not an Ijaw man, I will not be bothered what happened to Nigeria. I will not. That's the truth. If my name is not dragging, if Buhari and others are not attempting to kill me, by all means necessary, I will not also be bothered about what happened. Because in the fullness of time, Nigeria will go the way of Soviet Union and other nations which have their foundation on sinking sand.
Sorry, Dokubu there from our Niger Delta militant. Well, the recent spate of bombings in Kano State has further raised questions about the success of the fight against terrorism in Nigeria. Speaking on our flagship program, CoreTV's Lagos-based lawyer Festus Kayabo condemns the act and calls for a proper military solution to solving Boko Haram insurgency.
The clear threat we see here is a threat to our democracy and our unity as a country. And the earlier we deal with this situation, I think the better for all of us. What we are witnessing is a situation where the government has not shown a capacity at all to curtail this situation. The government has not shown a capacity to deal decisively with this situation. We are just hearing some kind of stereotypes from government. Stereotypes. Government keeps telling, if it happens, government comes out, it condemns what has happened, tells people to be vigilant, they tell people that we are on top of the situation, and that is all you hear from government. This is a clear case of ineptitude by government, purely a military solution, the way it is now, because they are deaf to dialogue. Don't forget that they are deaf to dialogue. They are deaf to any kind of rapprochement.
The Chibok community in Abuja has denied reports that it collected 100 million largesse during its meeting with President Goodluck Jonathan at the presidential villa last week. Chairman of the community, Sambido Abana, described as false allegations that the largesse was shared among the parents and that some were shortchanged by the leadership of the association. The BBC had earlier reported that the whooping amount was given to the Chibok parents, adding that many of the parents complained that they were shortchanged and given amounts ranging from 200,000 naira to 300,000 naira. He added that the money shared was handed by presidency officials who gave out envelopes to the parents. Chairman, Kibaku Area Development Association Beatrice Pogo also described the allegation as false, noting that the money that was shared to the Chibok parents was handed by Asa Villa officials. The Minister of State for Defense, Musiliu Obanikoro, has assured residents that business operators along the Apapa Express Road that the federal government is committed to making the road motorable. He made this known during a tour of the road in Apapa alongside the Nigerian Navy. Omotayo Alo has details.
The deplorable state of the Lagos-Apapa Express Road has raised a lot of concern in the past few months. Lagos State Governor Babatunde Fashola visited the area on several occasions to ascertain the compliance of the directives given to tanker drivers to desist from parking on the road, while calling on the federal government to wake up to its responsibilities. The Minister of State for Defense took a tour of the road and commended the effort of the Nigerian Navy. He encouraged the Lagos State government to continue in its efforts of making the road motorable.
There is need for the state to have a permanent holding bay for the truck drivers. It is when we have that, then we can have a radio link between the port and the stakeholders, so that whenever the port is ready to have them, then there will be a radio communication, and then they can now proceed to go in there. That we cannot afford not to do as quickly as possible.
Representatives of the Association of Apapa residents and business operators say they had to bear a lot of pain daily due to the bad condition of the road. They commended the Nigerian Navy of its support and called on other government parastatals to follow suit.
If all the agencies are able to come together in one committee and work together, this matter will be not fully resolved, but it will create an environment where traffic can flow and the people who need to go to the ports can get to the ports.
The gridlock in Apapa became a concern to every Nigerian. And Navy they want to provide security within the waterfronts and its environs, Apapa. And because of the security threat that this gridlock is causing, they cannot sit down and fold their arms not to interfere.
The Flag Officer Commanding Western Naval Command, Sami Alade, says the intervention of the Nigerian Navy to clear the road was not only to free the area of traffic gridlock, but also to reduce the security threat in the area.
What we are doing particularly is to partner with other stakeholders, because we cannot do it alone. And as a matter of fact, my duty is not to clear roads, but because of the security implication of what is happening in Apapa, we had to, take action, to make sure that traffic, flows, in Apapa area.
Residents of Apapa have expressed hope that the frequent visits of top government officials will translate to the construction of the road. Omota Yoalo, CoreTV News, Lagos.
Much has now been done as regards preventing the deadly Ebola virus from recurring in Nigeria. Find out more after this break. Stay with us.
CoreTV News now provide a platform for live coverage of political rallies and electioneering campaign from anywhere in Nigeria. Political news stories, political editorial reviews, political discussions, personality profile, People's Parliament from the National, State and Local Government Assembly. Contact us now on 0803-471-8550 or 0803-724-9733. 01453-3407.
Our 24-hour news station. You can now watch CoreTV News live from anywhere in the world on our website www.coretvnews.com. Click on Live TV on our website and watch us live.
And welcome to CoreTV Primetime News.
To follow us on Twitter, click on Twitter icon on our website. On Facebook, click on the Facebook and YouTube to see all our previous news production. You can also watch us live on YouTube. Click CoreTV, leave a space, then News. CoreTV News, our 24-hour news station.
Nigerians continue to travel the city of Lagos.
There is still a poor level of
Be the first to know from the north, south, east, west and around Africa. We break the news.
One Nigeria.
Now you can catch all the actions live as the news breaks. We are CoreTV News.
Welcome to CoreTV,
24-hour news station.
From time immemorial, women have birthed life, shaped character, and by extension, influenced the society. Moremi of Ife, Emoten of Benin, Queen Aminat of Zaria, all women of influence and power.
Whether it's before election, after election.
How ironical. Women being so powerful, yet have few grounds in decision making.
They see you as weak, and I see you as a wife to a man.
We are talking women in politics.
A woman will be bold enough to stand up and say, I want to become president of Nigeria.
only on CoreTV News.
Welcome back. Members of the Association of General and Private Medical Practitioners of Nigeria recently had an interactive session at the Lagos State University Teaching Hospital on protection against the deadly Ebola virus aftermath death of a Liberian national. Our health correspondent Anita Fatuji has the details.
The Special Advisor to the Lagos State Government on Health, Yewande Adesina, explains the circumstances before and after the death of the Liberian.
Back home, because they were at the point of bargaining whether they would bring the personnel, how to transport it to the airport, because it was afebrile, asymptomatic, just dehydrated, only symptoms, and then he died overnight. So our isolation center is ongoing. We have decided that we will have one CDC center that was requested per senatorial district. But we have our focal isolation center at the IDH, Lagos State Hospital, which is the one caused the protest this morning. Because the people in the area said they don't want it. It was really tough this morning when they came protesting. And this is government. Our job is difficult sometimes, but we have to look out for the most people that will benefit the most from what we're doing.
Other medical experts at the session detailed the causes, prevention, and warn on type of foodstuff to look out for.
It's not the bushmeat that transmits Ebola. In the area where Ebola occurred, they have 3 ways of handling bushmeat. One, processed raw and eaten them. We eat them soup and whatever, kill and process immediately. One that they use like freeze drying, salt drying, and then the one that they smoke. So it is the smoked bush meat that contains the Ebola virus. So you are right. The one that you cook well, the one that is processed well, you don't get the Ebola virus with the virus is there. But smoking doesn't kill the virus.
Really the biggest risk in Ebola is they get patients get extremely high viremia in the course of the illness. And as well, and animals do that as well. And some people are slaughtering bush meat. That's the biggest risk. So if they're slaughtering particularly an infected animal, and, you know, you can have coastal exposures where you touch your eye or you touch your mouth with the small contamination just with the bit of the, and then very often it's those kind of exposures that also cause human infection. And so I think it's really first contact, direct contact with the infected patient, and then exposing yourself after that contact.
The mode of transmission is through contact with body fluids, tissues, organs. Okay, so they say body fluids, blood, and other body fluids, urine, feces, sweat, saliva, and so on. Okay, and semen. So, if you look at that, then you begin to think about what puts an individual at risk. We've had instances of vegetables that are contaminated by these animals, especially fruit, the fruit bats, through its feces and saliva, and even fruits eaten by these bats, and other sources of contaminant for those primates. When they now eat such infected fruit, they come down and die. So we should be wary of that. That's the fruits. Advise them to wash the fruit very well with vinegar or salt.
Additional, who assures the public that the nation's borders are being protected, added that air flights in and out of the country.
All societies under the aegis of the Association of Medical Laboratory Scientists of Cross River State are calling on the federal government to urgently put in place effective emergency response mechanism to prevent the outbreak of the Ebola virus in the country. They made their position known at the one-day workshop in Calabar entitled Ebola Virus, an Emerging Global Challenge. Chairman of the association, Gloria Achibong, says it has become imperative for the Nigerian public to be properly educated as the threat was on the increase daily. She appealed to the federal government to ensure that mechanisms were put in place to check the virus in the country. A consultant microbiologist at the University of Calabar, Michael Usay, said that it was time for Nigeria to take the threat of the virus serious. Meanwhile, United States health officials say they're monitoring the Ebola outbreak in Africa. They said the risk of the deadly disease spreading to the U.S. is remote. The Center for Disease Control sent a health alert to U.S. doctors about the outbreak. There are no travel restrictions to the West Africa region hit by the disease. But last month, the center issued a middle-level travel advisory for health workers. 2 American aid workers in Liberia have contracted the Ebola virus, and it has killed the Liberian husband of an American woman who said he could have easily brought the disease home to the U.S. The family of Patrick Sawyer, who died on July 24, recently returned to the U.S. for a visit. The CDC said they were not affected. Officials stressed people are not contagious until they show symptoms, and the Sawyer's family left Liberia days before he fell ill. Sawyer, a consultant for Liberia's finance ministry, collapsed on arrival at the Lagos airport. The governorship candidate of the People's Democratic Party in the forthcoming Osun election, Iyolo Mishere, says his government will put in place a structure that will recognize the traditional institution in the state if voted into office. Omishere made the statement when he took his campaign train to Ilesha local government area of the state. Frank Omolape has details.
Flanked by his supporters, Omishere's first point of call was the palace of Ilesha, Oba Gabriel Adekunle, to pay homage. While berating the spirit of neglect for traditional rulers in the state, Omishere says if government of the People's Democratic Party will restore the traditional structure when voted into office.
But because we have successfully put traditional setting behind us, we are putting the governance, the political structure far ahead of traditional setting. Has not been used against us in the issue of Boko Haram, other these violent tendencies. So the government of PDP coming on board in less than 3 weeks' time, by the grace of God, ensure a pride of place, a rightful place, a successful and a fully integrated traditional setting.
Responding to accusations by the ruling All Progressives Congress in the state that the PDP is an exploitative party, Ben Folashade Grace dismissed the APC statement.
So for we that are supposed to be taking care of the lives and the property of people, we will now turn around to fight the same people. This is the propaganda of the IS order. It's an high-tech propaganda, and it's not going to go anywhere, because on the 9th of August, the people of Osun State will speak, and they will speak with their votes.
Some of the PDP stalwarts present were optimistic of the party's victory in the coming election.
Already, the APC, they are very jittery. They are calling for postponement of election. So, but I can assure you that we rely on the grace of God and on the grace of the people. We win the election all over Osun State.
We don't bring people together at once, every time and say we are having mega rally. So I think we have communicated with the people of Osun State, and I think they are desirous of a change, and that's why I believe that Omishere will be successful come 9th August.
The governorship candidate says the Ilesha outcome is as a result of grassroots campaign.
House to house, door to door, neighbor to neighbor. And of course, it's obvious you can see what's happening here. It has been good reception across everywhere. We have blessings everywhere, and it shows that Osun people are ready for a change.
The Osun governorship elections are just days away, and efforts by political parties have intensified and seeking to win voters. Frank Omolape, CoreTV News, Ilesha.
During the regional governance of Obafemi Awolowo in the southwest of Nigeria, the foresight to have a food supply hub for the region was given priority, resulting to settlements like Agowu in Osun State. Rashid takes a look at the functionality of settlements like these and the efforts of government to resuscitate them.
An offshoot of the Ilesha Farm Institute graduates of 1960 brought to pioneer the settlement for the purpose of producing food for the Western region, an initiative of the then Western Region Premier Obafemi Awolowo. The settlement was pioneered with 69 people, but sadly it can only boast of 2 left. Samuel Adeleke, one of the surviving pioneers, explains how life was then.
Life was very good then, though we lack good roads then because we normally go to Ilesha through Ijebu. But life was okay.
Agowu, though still a farm settlement with agriculture at its main occupation, can now boast of considerable population that needs all social amenities, though some residents say the Osun State government is trying its best.
I'm enjoying living here, but we still want government to come and help us to add more to what they have already done for us here. Government provide us electricity with a good road, and we see the water. They provide us water.
With agriculture being the main occupation of Agowu, which shares border with Ijebu-Igbo in Ogun State and Ibadan in Oyo State. Residents appeal to the government to do more so as for the settlement to serve its main purpose of being the food hub for the southwest region.
Mali we need so many things. In the aspect of education, aspect of health, and even aspect of communication. We need the mask.
So our electricity is not on since far the electricity has been donated here. So we want them to help us on this matter.
Speaking of the giant strides of the Aregbesola government in boosting agriculture and at the same time checking rural-urban migration, Special Advisor to Governor Aregbesola on Rural Development, Kunle Ige, says the government will not rest on its oars to bring to the people the dividends of democracy enjoyed.
I think we've virtually touched the lives of virtually every citizen in rural areas in the state of Osun. We've done quite well touching the rural areas. And as you've discovered, we don't even call some rural anymore, we call them semi-rural. Because again, communities are developing at quite a rapid rate in Osun State. We've done the best we can under the circumstances that we find ourselves. We've done quite well touching the rural areas.
Advocates of food security say adequate food supply can only be guaranteed when centers like these are properly funded and modern crops injected so as to promote modern farming for bumper harvest. Rashid, CoreTV News, Agbo.
You're watching CoreTV News, Primetime News, live from Lagos. We'll take a break. Sabina Osoko is standing by with the business news shortly. Stay with us.
CoreTV News, expanding your view.
You can now watch CoreTV News live from anywhere in the world on our website www.coretvnews.com. Click on Live TV on our website and watch us live.
And welcome to CoreTV Primetime News.
To follow us on Twitter, click on Twitter icon on our website. On Facebook, click on the Facebook and YouTube to see all our previous news production. You can also watch us live on YouTube. Click CoreTV, leave a space, then News. CoreTV News, our 24-hour news station.
CoreTV News now provide a platform for live coverage of political rallies and electioneering campaign from anywhere in Nigeria. Political news stories, political editorial reviews, political discussions, personality profile, People's Parliament from the National, State and Local Government Assembly. Contact us now on 0803-471-8550 or 0803-724-9733. 01453-3407.
Our 24-hour news station.
CoreTV News presents a platform with presence in over 30 states of the Federation. Be sure to be had. For live coverage of events, we have the capacity to deliver from anywhere in Nigeria and beyond. Contact us now on 0803-471-8550 or 0803-724-9733. 014-533-407.
Our 24-hour news station.
Hello there, you're welcome to the world of business. Nigeria is currently ranked as the 6th largest cashew producer in the world, while studies have shown that it can quickly move to number 2 with the required support of the key stakeholders. Fortunes of its members have received a major boost as the association is in talks with the United States Agency for International Development, USAID, and Nigerian Expanded Trade and Transport, NEXT, to strengthen its capacity to provide evidence-based advocacy and facilitate access to technical assistance for its membership. Experts have identified low production yields, low value addition, poor access to finance, and high energy costs are some of the challenges facing the Nigerian cashew industry, and these have constrained the sector from fulfilling its potentials as one of the main sources of non-oil revenue for the country. Another major problem of farmers is the capital. Cashew, which has provided significant employment opportunities, has not been given as much attention as other cash crops. NCAN is looking to develop the cashew value chain, improve crop yields through new plantings, introduce better farm management practices, efficient aggregation, storage and logistics, as well as attract new investment into processing of both the raw cashew nut and cashew fruits. The association believes that the sector could easily increase annual report earnings from 25 billion naira to 200 billion naira. Next, the project of USAID is currently in partnership with the Nigerian Export Promotion Council to design sector strategies that allow Nigerian branded cashew trade more competitively in global markets. The International Monetary Fund said it will provide Morocco a $5 billion credit line to help the North African country to pursue a reform agenda to achieve rapid and more inclusive economic growth. Morocco's CBN said last month its country was working with the IMF on a new line of credit to replace $6.2 billion two-year precautionary liquid line, PLL, that expires in August. The IMF liquidity line is aimed at countries with relatively good economic policies that still face balance of payments needs because of the issues beyond their control. So far, all of Morocco has used this type of program. The line provides reassurance about Morocco's economic policies to foreign lenders, investors, and rating agencies, allowing it to tap international capital markets at favorable borrowing terms. IMF says under the two-year arrangements approved under the PLL, Morocco would get access to about $4.5 billion in the first year and the full $5 billion in the second year. The reforms implemented by the Nigerian Stock Exchange post the 2008 financial crisis has helped to increase investors' confidence in the market, while also facilitating the transformation of the Nigerian capital market in the world-class market. The Chief Risk Officer, Tunji Kazim, said, while making a presentation on risk regulation in the Nigerian capital market at Risk Managers Association of Nigeria's 14th Annual National Conference in Lagos. Kazim, who explained the impact of the financial crisis on the Nigerian markets and the efforts made to ensure market recovery, explained that one of the goals of the exchange was to implement proactive, dynamic, and risk-based regulations. He listed the 5 pillars of the exchange and the strategic objectives: transformation as targeted the business development efforts, strong regulatory environment, 21st century technology strategies, growth enabling market structure, and the first-rate investor protection programs, among others. According to him, the exchange has enhanced its broker-dealer regulations and listing regulations through the effective monitoring and enforcement of rules, which enhance penalties for violation, robust complaints, management framework, and corporate governance rating system, among others. The International Monetary Fund described both money laundering and financing of terrorism as activities that generate financial flows that involve the diversion of resources away from economically and socially productive users, resulting in negative impacts on the financial sector and external stability of member states. He said, by implementing the rules and regulations discussed, the goal of the NSE are as follows: to increase investors' confidence in the Nigerian capital market, transform Nigeria's capital market to a world-class market, ensure our market is fair, efficient, and transparent, implement proactive dynamic risk-based regulations, and increase market liquidity while reducing listed companies' cost of capital. And that's it on business news. Coming up next in the world of sports with Tolu Ochelmi. Please stay with us.
Nigerians continue to
Tonight,
travel
the
in
city
and
of
out
Lagos
their
went and dug as all routes.
to you on
Be the first to know.
CoreTV News.
From the north, south, east, west, and around Africa, we break the news.
We are one Nigeria.
Now you can catch all the actions live as the news breaks. We are CoreTV News.
Welcome to CoreTV News.
24-hour news station.
Thanks for joining us on Sports tonight. And we begin with this. The Commonwealth Games Federation has announced that Chika Amalaha, who won gold for Nigeria in weightlifting, has failed a doping test. Chief Executive of Commonwealth Games Federation, Mike Hooper, confirmed that the 16-year-old, who pulled a total of 196 points in snatch and clean and jerk and the 53 kilograms, tested positive for diuretics and masking agents. The athlete is Nigerian weightlifter Chika Amalaha, who was tested on July 25th. That athlete has now been suspended from the Commonwealth Games in Glasgow. The backup B sample will undergo tests on Wednesday. In the meantime, Senate President David Mark has sent a solidarity message to Nigeria's contingent at the ongoing Commonwealth Games in Glasgow, Scotland, on their performances. Senator Mark, in a goodwill message to the Nigerian representatives, expressed joy that the athletes were flying the nation's flag high. He said the medals being won by Nigerian athletes, especially in weightlifting and the women 100 meters by Blessing Okagbare, are clear manifestations that the nation has come of age in international sporting competition. The Senate President also assured the athletes and officials of federal government's readiness to meet their welfare needs. Now, England won gold in the men's gymnastics team final at Scotland and landed a historic silver medal. The English team of Louis Smith, Sam Odom, Christian Thomas, Max Whitlock, and Niall Wilson scored 266.804 over the 2 days of competition. But Odom missed the final 2 rotations after falling in the vault. Dan Kittins, Dan Purvis, Frank Baines, Adam Cox, and Liam Davey gave Scotland a first-ever team gymnastics medal with 257.603. It will be the first time since 2002 that England have won the team competition. England's men had led at the halfway stage ahead of Tuesday's vault, parallel bars and hyper apparatus. And then something on tennis. Serena Williams will be fit to defend her U.S. Open title after recovering from the virus which ended her Wimbledon. The world number 1 was forced to pull out of a doubles match with sister Venus earlier this month after struggling to serve. She makes her return at the Bank of the West Classic at Stanford University on Wednesday and will be ready for the U.S. Open when it starts on August 25. Williams was beaten in the 3rd round of the singles at Wimbledon by France's Alice Cornet before retiring from the doubles a few days later. And Everton midfielder Ross Barkley has signed a 4-year contract extension with the club. The 20-year-old scored 6 Premier League goals last season and was part of the England squad at the World Cup finals in Brazil. Manager Roberto Martinez says it is a 4-year deal which reflects his new role and his development. That's all. Thanks for watching. I'm Tulu Ojeomi. Good evening.
Every day, every hour, and every minute, news break in Nigeria. Things happen so fast, it's most times difficult to track and comprehend them. But that's what we do right here on Digit 360. 2015, would you want to come back again?
It's like asking Jesus Christ if he knew he was going to die, will you want to come back as the savior of the world again?
We do not just help you track the stories, we break them down, explore all the angles, analyze the issues so that you can fully comprehend the stories and use them to make the right decisions.
Welcome back. The European Union is now prepared to hit Russia where it hurts with tough economic sanctions as Moscow insisted the West can do it little ham and showed no sign of reversing course in Ukraine. The leaders of the United States, Germany, France, Britain and Italy has put aside their differences and agreed for the international community to impose further costs on Russia. Ambassadors from the EU's 28 member states are holding final talks. They intend to limit Russian access to European financial markets, restrict sales of arms and dual-use goods, and prevent the export of sensitive technology, especially
What is particularly
in the energy
interesting
sector.
is the talk of sectoral sanctions or phase 3 sanctions. In other words, measures that would not only target a very hand-picked group of Putin cronies, but measures that would target specific sectors of the Russian economy. But I think the big galvanizing element here was the shooting down of the airliner. The European Union can't afford to be seen to be divided and to be hesitant in putting up some kind of opposition to Russia, and can't let much more time tick by after the evidence piles, seemingly, of course it's not yet established, suggesting a Russian involvement. The ability of the EU to target entire sectors of the Russian economy is very likely to have an effect on the crisis. It'll have a political effect. It'll erode the higher levels of popularity that Putin's been enjoying since the crisis started. After a few months, once the first effects of the sanctions begin to ground in.
In an address to youth leaders from the African continent, United States President Barack Obama says the future stability of the world depends on African nations achieving prosperity and self-reliance. Obama promised to host U.S.-Africa Leaders Summit next week. He said it will be the largest gathering any American president has hosted with African heads of state and government. The meeting is expected to bring around 50 African leaders to Washington, with the exception of pioneer figures like Zimbabwe's Robert Mugabe and Sudan's Omar al-Bashir. Obama announced plans for the major summit in June last year during his first major tour of African countries south. Asked what Africa can do for itself, Obama underlined the importance of the rule of law, respect for civil rights, as well as human rights. When doctors in Gaza pulled the tiny baby from her mother's womb in an emergency cesarean section, the woman had already been dead for an hour. The 23-year-old mother was 8 months pregnant when an Israeli tank shell hit her home in central Gaza town of Deir al-Balah.
Shema in only breathed through an oxygen mask. Named after her mother, she is being called Gaza's miracle baby for the incredible story of a survivor. Shema was born during the latest Israeli assault on the Gaza Strip to a mother who was already dead, killed in their family home in Deir al-Balah by an Israeli bombardment.
Was buried under 3 floors. She spent an hour and a half under the rubble. What did she do? She was 23 years old and married for 13 months. What did she do?
Brought to the hospital after being pulled from the remains of their home, Shema's young mother was declared dead by the doctors, but then they noticed that her belly was still moving.
The doctors noticed that this young woman was around 9 months pregnant. They saw movement in her stomach, so they called the midwives and decided to deliver the baby immediately.
Despite this rapid response, baby Shema spent over an hour in the womb of her dead mother.
And that's been the show tonight. I'm Nifemi Oguntoye. Thanks for being there.